Day 7 of Data Analysis Scholarship course. Welcome for tonight's section. For tonight, we will be rounding up in-depthly, moving into the advanced features of Excel formulas and functions. We will be looking at the lookups and the date functions in tonight's section. Once again, you are welcome. My name is Franklin. I'm a seasoned data analyst, a management consultant, Solomon Institute of Tech and Management. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see my screen. Much appreciated. You are welcome once again for tonight's section. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. Tonight we are going to be going in-depthly into Excel functions and formulas. You are welcome. This scholarship is brought to you by Solomon Institute of Tech and Management. Once again, welcome to Data Analysis course. This is a scholarship course organized to equip us with data analysis using Microsoft Excel, and we will be looking at in-depth functions for data analysis tonight. The training is brought to you by Solomon Institute of Tech and Management. I'm your facilitator, Mr. Franklin, and without further ado, we will be going into the practical section proper. And if you are just joining us and if you are new to this course, hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button. If you are part of the scholarship group, let's do this very fast. Head over to the scholarship group. Let everyone know we are live. Type there we are live. Type we are live. Tell everyone that we are live. Let's quickly do that within a minute. I don't want to waste much time tonight because we have a lot to cover. We are a bit lagging behind. Welcome. My name is Franklin. If you can hear me, if you can see my screen, drop in the comment. And as our tradition demands, as well, your name, your location, and your scholarship ID if you are part of the data analysis scholarship. All right, let's quickly delve into Excel and begin the journey tonight. All right, we are here in Microsoft Excel. We are here in Microsoft Excel. Let me know what you can see right there on your screen. Welcome Jibril, welcome Florence, Florence, Emmanuel, Amarachi, Adeyemi, welcome. Thank you, Florence, for having done that. Guys, let's us bombard the scholarship cohort 2. If you are the cohort 2 scholarship group, let's go there. Tell everyone, tag as many as possible. Tell everyone there we are live for tonight's section. Let's do that. Also, kindly let me know what you can see right there on your screen. Let me know what you can see right there on your screen. Florence, I have seen your name. Adeyemi, welcome. What can you see right there on your screen? What can you see right there on your screen? Let me know what you can see right there on your screen. Drop in the comment, drop in the live chat. What can you see right there on your screen so that we can quickly proceed? Alright, beautiful ABC superstar. And tonight we will be looking at lookup functions and array functions. We will be looking at lookup functions and the array function. What are we going to be looking at? Lookup functions, array function, and then once we are done, we will move to date function and error handling function. Tonight, the first we are going to be looking at we are going to be starting with the array functions. We are going to be starting with the array functions. And the array functions are the functions we have here: the unique function, the filter function, the sort function, the sequence functions, the transpose function, and the rand array function. These are the array functions we have. All right, now let's begin with unique function. Now your unique function returns unique values in a data range. It returns unique values in a data range, distinct values in a data range. For example, if we want to know the number of states we have Imo, Abia, we want to know the number of states represented in this data set. Let's say we want to know the number of states represented in this particular data set. What we do is we are going to say equals to, we type unique, double click on this. Now the unique, like I said, it returns distinct value, your unique value in a range. Now for those of us using Office 2019 downward, you will not have this function in your PC, but if you are using from 2021 upward, you are going to have this function. So I will encourage us as much as, if we can, we encourage us to upgrade our Office. You can upgrade to 2021, 2024, meet any system engineer and let the person know you want to install Office 2021 or Office 2024. The person will tell you what to do, the person will do the needful. All right, now once we say equals to unique, that's the function unique. Then where do we want the array? This is our array. We want to get the states that are represented in this our data set. We click here, Control Shift down arrow to highlight the entire range. This is up to over 5,000 data, over 5,000 data range. Then Control Backspace to return where we are. That is our unique function. That is our unique function. Then when I hit enter, automatically it shows me the number of states represented. And from here you can see the total number of states that are represented in this particular data set. And that is how we do for our unique function. However, remember what I said. You remember the trick I taught us earlier. If we want these values to to recognize it as a value, like Imo, when you click here, you are seeing a function. If you click here, it shows you that this is by a function called unique. So if you don't want it to be as a function, the thing you do is that you can highlight them when you select the range, right click and copy, or you press Ctrl C, anyone. Then once you do that, still paste it here, going to paste, click this, and then paste as values. So if I paste it as value, Excel will now see it as Imo. Excel will not be recognizing it as Imo. If I click here, it recognizes as Abia, if this Enugu data, and so on and so forth. So that is the aspect of unique. That is the aspect of unique. Now, when in the aspect of filter, the next array function we are going to be looking at is the filter array. The filter array function. Remember earlier in the basics, I'm going to remove this. Press delete. Now let's look at the filter function. And in the filter function, I'm going to show us different use cases of using filter. Different use cases of using the filter function. Now remember earlier in the beginning aspect of this course, remember we talked about the filter where we come here and click on the filter. We have this. If we want to select only Imo State, we want to see what Imo State does, we can select this and say okay. It brings out only the data for Imo State. This is good, but this is for beginners. One of the things is that it doesn't separate the data from the filter. Now the other data points are still within this place. However, if you want to have a situation where you filter it separately, that you can copy it, you can do further analysis on that filtered data ranges you got, you can do that easily on your own. You can do that easily on your own. So once having established that, let me go to filter and still remove that, and other things comes. Now let's look at the filter. Let's see how we can filter this out. Now, for basic filter, we say equals to filter. This comes up, we double click on it. It asks us the array. The array is the entire data range. This entire data set, I'm going to hold Control, hold Shift, press forward arrow, down arrow to highlight the entire range. Control backspace to get back where we are. And that is our range data. That's our, how will I put it now? That's our array. Then comma. Then what do we include? Let's say for example, I want to filter out Imo State. So I can come here, click here, Control Shift down arrow to highlight this entire range. Control backspace, and then say equals to. Now, if this equals to this, let me put this. That's the state. Let me click on that place so that it can be dynamic. Remember when we did the if functions, so that it can be dynamic. If it's equals to this, clicking on this state cell. If this whole range equals whatever that is here, then filter it out. Filter whatever that is there out from this entire data range. Then comma, it's asking if empty. If empty, we can just say not available, for example. We can say not available. Close this, close the quotation and close the bracket or the parentheses, and then we hit enter. Automatically what we have there is not available. Why? Because we haven't inserted anything on the state. Now let's say for example I now say Imo. I type Imo State here, hit enter. Automatically it gives me the values for Imo State only. Or you filter out the values for Imo State only. And this value here, I can do further analysis on it. I can just copy it. I can do whatever I want for it. And then if let's say our manager said no, we are looking for the value for delta, which we have delta. I type here, hit enter. Automatically it takes me to delta. If at all we are looking for Kano, I can also put Kano here. It takes me to Kano, and all that. That becomes our basic filter. That becomes our basic filter. All right. Now, having established the aspect of the filter function and how we can also make it dynamic, the next thing is for us to look at. We have talked about this. You can then now put the headings. You can copy the headings and put here, and put the headings together. Copy the headings and put here while the data is underneath it. All right. Next is to look at when we have multiple criteria. What do we do when we have multiple criteria? What do we do? In other words, what if we want to filter state, region, and let's say revenue? State, region, and the revenue. We want to filter the states of Kano, the region, and then the revenue. So what do we do? Our products and revenue, either way. Let's say we have multiple criteria. How do we go about to filter those within that criteria. Now, moving next is to look at filter function as regards to multiple criteria. We are still on the filter function. However, we are looking at filter function for multiple criteria. Okay, let's delete this. Now we want to look at, we want to filter this based on manufacturer, region, and revenue. We want to filter based on these three criteria: manufacturer, region, and revenue. So now let's look at how we can achieve that. All right, we say equals to filter, double click. What's the array? The array is this. Remember, the array is the entire data set. Control backspace, that's, and that to return where we add then comma. What do we include? It is here now we open parentheses, and then the first is manufacturer, which is this range here. We click Control Shift down arrow, then Control backspace. If this equals this, that's the first criterion. If it equals that, we close the parentheses. And remember, in our previous section, we talked about the logical function, where we talked about the AND, the OR function. And I told us that the AND function is only returns true when all the values, all the statement is true. Hence, in Excel analysis, to impute AND function, you use this times or asterisk. In this case, the asterisk is doing the work of the AND function. So is combining the arguments together, and once the arguments are true, then it will filter. So the first criteria is this, then let's combine it with the second criteria. We now open our parentheses. Region, this, we are looking at region. Should we use region or should we use state? Okay, let's use state. Let's use state. And revenue, region, state. Okay, let's go ahead and use region. So here we have this. Control Shift down arrow, Control backspace to get where we are, and then equals this. We close our parentheses. That's our second criteria. Then to do the third one, we also put the asterisk. That's times, open parentheses, and then the revenue. We go over to revenue, hold Control, hold Shift, press the down arrow, Control backspace to get back where we are. And we say equals to, or we can now say if the revenue is greater than whatever that is here. Display, bring out revenue. If it's greater than whatever that is here, we want you to filter it out. Whatever value that is greater than this, that is from this region and this manufacturer, is from this region and also this manufacturer. That's what we want you to filter out. Then we close the parentheses. If empty, we don't need it, and then we close again. Remember, in Microsoft Excel, in basic math, the number of brackets you open, you ensure you close it as well. All right. So having done that, the next we do is we hit enter. It gives us this CAC error. Why? Because if it comes here, it shows you empty arrays are not supported. So let's go ahead and insert. If is, let's say, if it's greater than, let's take for example, if it's greater than 2 million, let's say region, let's say east, manufacturer, let's say this, for example, and then hit enter. Automatically, we see that it filters it out. It filters out the ones, this based only on this manufacturer. This is the manufacturer here, and then it filters out East. East, you see that these are East, and these are the states under East. It filters it out, and then revenue greater than what do we have here? That's 2 million. We see it here. These are revenues greater than 2 million. Only this revenue. Why do I know? Because this is product ID, this is date, this is unit sold, this is price per unit, and this is revenue. So with this, it filters it out. Now there is another thing I want to show us. Let's get back to the formula. Now, if we don't want it to include price per unit, this, you want it to filter, let's say, from revenue to category. You don't want this, the product ID, the date, unit sold. No, you just want the revenue to category. For example, you can come here under the array. Remember, this is from revenue. That is E. That's under E. Just come here, delete A and put E. Automatically, it's remove these ones and put. Remember, it's not case sensitive. It's not case sensitive. So from here downward, when I hit enter, you notice what happens here now. It starts from the revenue. As you can see here now, the other ones are not there. It starts from the revenue down to this one, revenue, state, region, manufacturer, product, category. So either way, depending on what you want to filter out, you start from that column. That is your range. Also, here, if we come over to this place and we don't want category, for example, we just want to stop at product, what do? We can come here, remove J and put I as well, and then hit enter. You see that automatically it removes the category and brings out this for me. So this is on the aspect of multiple filter. This is on the aspect of multiple filter. All right, now having done that, the screen is clear. Insert, check your quality, check the quality of your video is clear from my end. Just check the quality of your video. It will be much better. It will be much better. Okay, now that's on the multiple filter. Now the next I'm going to show us, there are different use cases of filter function. After now, I'm going to drop a video on filter in the group. Let's endeavor to watch it to also enhance your use cases on filter function. I have talked about the basic filter. I have talked about having multiple criteria. Also, let me show us the aspect I call the wildcard feature of the filter function. That let me show us that. Let's say for example, I want to filter out this. I want to filter out products, but only products that has Maximus. For example, I want to filter out products that has Maximus here, for example. However, watch, if I do basic filter, it will not work. Now let's look at it. Now if I do basic filter, if I come here and say equals to filter, double click here, what's my array? My array is this, Control Shift forward and down. to highlight the entire range, and then control backspace. Then comma, what to include. I come here, select this product, control shift down to highlight, control backspace, and say equals to this, for example, and then hit enter. It's giving me error. However, if I type Maximus here only and hit enter, it still didn't work. Why? Why it still didn't work? Because Maximus is not the only letters or the only words inside here. So even if I now say Maximus and then space and say UC, it will still not work until I get the detail, the specific one. If I now say this 45, hit enter. If I say this, okay, Maximus, let me put X here and hit enter. Now 45, it brings out that for that product for me. You see, only that product that has that UC45 is what was being brought out. However, I want to get the products of Maximus, not whether it's UC45, 24, 61, I don't care. I want only product called Maximus, different code number, but that product. And that is the aspect we refer to as wildcard filter. How do we achieve that? We want to get it in a way that all the product Maximus is being gotten, not based on this. How do we get that? Some persons might say, okay, why not we separate this, go use test split to separate this from this, and then filter, work on the ones that is called Maximus. That is fine, that will work, that is good, but that will take us time. That will take us time, it will take us time. So that's where we can use that's why we can use the aspect called the wildcard filter. Now, what is the wildcard filter? How do we work with it? We can start with this. That's why I have taught us the test functions, and that's so we can say equals to search. What does search do? Search is to find the test and give it a particular number. Now, the thing we are going to do here, okay, let me delete this. Let me come over to here first. We are looking for Maximus. We are looking for Maximus, or let me even delete this so that we start. We say equals search. Double click. Now, when we double click on it, find, it says find test. What test are we looking for? We click here, whatever that is here. Then, comma, within what test? Then is within the product. So here I click on this, control shift down, control backspace. So once I do that, I hit enter. It shows 11111. Why? Because everything there has value. So if I come here now and type and enter Maximus, we see what will happen. I hit enter. Now automatically it shows that this doesn't have it. This is one which is true. It contains Maximus. 1, 2, 3 is 1, 2, 3 contains Maximus. This doesn't. So it gives us an error value. If we go down those that doesn't have, we get error value. Only the ones that have Maximus in them gives us 1. Now, having done that, the next we can do is to turn it to true or false. To turn it to true or false, where we are going to use another function called isNumber. We type the isNumber. Now this isNumber returns it, makes it to return either true or false. So to turn these error values to either true or false, one will be true, these error values becomes false. So I will come over to this place to close the parenthesis. Follow me gradually, please. I will come over to that place to to close the parenthesis and then hit enter. Now you see that automatically this is done. Why is it working? Because its number search is also an array function. An array is something that can display others without you highlighting or without you dragging autofill. Automatically it displays the rest down on this particular range. Okay, now we have, if you look at this, we are talking about its number search. You search for Maximus inside this place, it brings you 1, which shows it has Maximus. And then you say its number to make it true or false. So the next thing we are going to do here now, finally, is to add our filter function. This is more like what we call the nested functions. You see functions inside another function. Functions inside another function. All right. Then, having done that, here it is asking us our array. Our array is from here. Our array is from here. Now, please note this. Okay. If you start from here, you will most likely get the wrong answer. Now, watch. If I start from product ID and then hold Control, hold Shift, press forward arrow, and then down arrow. That's to highlight the entire range. Control backspace to return where we are. And then press comma. That gives us the array. What to include? We have already gotten it when we did its number, this and that. We have gotten what to include. Then the next thing we are to do is to close the parenthesis, and then hit enter. It gives us error value. It gives us an error value. Now, how do we correct it? Now, when you get to this place, you see you started from here. Either way, one of the ways you can correct it is either you change this from A6 to A7. So let's come here and make it A7. So once we make it A7 and we hit enter, now you see automatically it filters out all the values, all those ones that has Maximus. Now I don't need these ones, so let me make it, let me start from E. I don't need these ones. Let me start from revenue, E, and hit enter. So we start from revenue. Now when you look at this, you see that now we have, let me increase this, we now have Maximus, whether is 24, whether is 45, whether is this, we can now filter out. And one of the good stuff about it is dynamic. If we are looking for cross and we type it here, hit enter, automatically it updates to this. So it's dynamic, and at the same time we can search whatever we want, if not really the particular full stuffs. We can use a particular name, maybe you have the first name, and you know the first name, and you want to filter out those, their name fall under that, and what have you. You can use this particular approach. Remember, we started by search. What are we searching for? We are searching for whatever inside here, that we are searching for whatever here that is within this place. So whatever is here is what we are searching for within here. So when you get it, it will display 1. If it's not it displays error value. So to turn that error value to become a logical statement which will be true or false, we use its number. Its number returns true. If it's true, it returns false. If it is false, what that simply means, If it's number, it returns true. So 1 is a number. Then that error value is not a number, so it returns false. So that word turns that. Then filter all the ones that are true. What this filter is saying, from this array, filter everyone, include from this array, from this array, include all that is true. That's what he's saying here. Include everything here that is true. So once you check the ones that are true here, is what it will return. And this is one of the powerful use case of filter function. I will encourage us to take our time also to watch this section again to understand this filter function. All right. Now, having established this, we are moving forward. There are certain functions I want to focus and teach. Filter unique. Filter is a very powerful function. We use it in analysis. Another function we use is sequence. Sort, we are going to do sort function in a jiffy. However, I have been able to handle at least 3 use cases of filter function. The basic filter, the multiple criteria of filter function, and what I call the wild card, when you want to filter a particular stuff, but there are different codes. Let's say you want to filter all iPhones, irrespective of the codes they have. You want to filter all HP laptops. It has HP this, HP Core i5, HP Core i7, HP this, and that. You just want to filter only HP, irrespective of what their specifications are. You make use of this advanced filter function. All right. Now, having established that, we move forward to sort. We have handled unique, we have handled the filter. Let's move forward to sort function. Now, the sort function, like we all know, to sort in ascending order or in descending, or to sort alphabetically. All right, let's look at it. We can say equals to sort. Double click here, the array. The array, we can say the array is the entire. We can say that the array is the entire data set. Control Shift forward, Control down to highlight the entire range. That's the array. Then comma sort index. Now, when we talk about the sort index, you don't necessarily need it. Let me start from the beginning. Let me remove this. This is the only aspect you need to sort. Basic sort function. When you just highlight the entire range and you hit enter, automatically it sorts it. However, what does this do? This sorts it from the first. It starts from the first column. So it takes the first column to sort. Like you can see here, it sorts in ascending order from 501, 503, 503, 505, and all that, moving upward. So if you don't want to sort by the product ID, you don't want to sort by the product ID, let's say you want to sort by the states or by region or by manufacturer, then that is where the next aspect comes in, the sort index. This is the only aspect in the sort function that is compulsory, the array. However, the same way, if you don't want to display the entire stuff, you can start from F. You can come here and type F if you want to sort only this. And automatically, it will be sort from alphabetical order using the state as a reference point. Because state is the first. In that. So if I hit enter, as you can see, it starts immediately using the state as its reference point when sorted alphabetically. So that is another aspect you need to get. Now let's include all the data range. Let's put A there, and then come here, put comma, Now sort index. Let's say we want to sort by manufacturer. We want to sort by manufacturer. Then what is the sort index? The sort index is now we count from left to right. That's we count product ID 1, state 2, unit 3, selling price 4, revenue 5, state 6, region 7, manufacturer 8. So it first, the manufacturer is 8 column index. Then you put the number 8 here. You put the number 8 there and then hit enter. So we see that from here you see that it sorts by the products, manufacturer rather. This is the manufacturer others. So it sorts using this because that's what we did. That's what we said, or that's what we gave you to do. If you want it to sort by the state, you come back to this, count the state is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You come here and remove 8 and put 6 and hit enter. Automatically you see that is no longer sorting using the manufacturer, is now sorting via state, and that's how you can use your sort function, filter function. And the beauty of it is that it's separate. So whatever here you can do, go ahead and do whatever you want to do while retaining the original data set. All right. Now, having talked about the filter, the next is for us to look at the sequence function. The next is sequence function. I want us to be able to complete anything that has to do with function this night, and by Thursday we start doing real life project. On Thursday we are going to work on, like we did in cohort 1. I'm thinking whether to spice it. We are going to work on resource sheets definitely, because most of us here are in the, either you are HR or you are a teacher, or maybe you are a serving corps member. We are going to work on preparing automated resource sheets. Also, we are going to be working on payroll. And then on Friday, we will work on 2 projects. If we finish on time, we can move to the 3rd project, but I'm putting it on Thursday, 2 projects, Friday, 2 projects, and then 2 real life projects, and then we get our first project assignment for this particular course. All right. Okay, let's move to sequence. Now, for sequence function, let's say you want to generate a serial number. Instead of you doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you can just come here and say equals to, double click sequence. If you want to generate 1000 serial number, instead of typing 1, 2, 3, 4, or you type, let me show us what I mean. Instead of you coming to say, you type 1, you move down 2, move down 3, this will take you time as well. Or even if you do this and you highlight this and start dragging, imagine how long you will drag to get to 1000. Imagine how long you will drag. And if you are trying to build up a serial number of 50,000, 100,000, imagine what will happen to you. Just picture the suffering. I want you to just close your eyes and picture the suffering when you are going to be dragging this down to 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 20,000. There is a data set I have on my PC. It's over 100,000 rows. Over 100,000. Imagine if you are generating the serial number of over 100,000. Imagine the suffering, imagine the agony, imagine the pain. So with that, Excel has a function where you can do that with ease, within seconds. Within seconds, that challenge is settled. So what is that function? Is sequence function. Those of us, you click on this sequence. double click. I'm not sure if this function is in 2019. It most likely be. I'm not sure. If it's not, definitely it's available in 2021. So you press equals to sequence and type. Let's say you want to generate 100,000. You type this 100,000 rows. 100,000 rows. So once you do that, you hit enter. All right, I know the course. Let me delete this. So automatically it spills it down. That's why it's an array. It spills down. That's why it's an array. All these ones, they spill down. You don't need to drag it. So if you want to check if it's up to 100,000, the only thing you press is Control down. It will take you to the last, which is 100,000. Automatically, you don't need to check whether it's correct or not. It will stop at 100,000 rows, and that is the sequence function. That's the basic use case of sequence function. Later, I will do a video on sequence functions that shows other use cases of sequence function. I want to get to VLOOKUP, index, and the date function this night. So that's why I'm going to pause here for sequence. But this is the basic use case. And most times, this is what you will be using sequence function for. All right, now let's delete this. Now transpose. Now transpose is when we say equals transpose. It's very simple. The transpose is very simple. Pushing something from vertical to horizontal or horizontal to vertical. For example, if I want to transpose this, instead of copying it and paste and all that, I can type transpose and highlight all this. That's all, and hit enter. Automatically it pushes them down in the vertical format or horizontal format, whatever. If this is horizontal, this is vertical, so it puts it in the vertical format. That's what transpose does. Very, very powerful feature whenever we want to transform our data set or manipulate or tweak our data set a bit. It does that for us, and that's why we call it a array function. It's one of the array function. Why? It spills down on its own. It spills down on its own. So for example, if I come here and say equals to transpose, double click this, and let's say I copy this and hit, I highlight rather than not copy, and hit enter. It makes it in a horizontal format, and that is for the transpose function. Let me delete that. Let's move forward to the round array. Round array is another filter function. Is another array function. I use round array to. Please, can we hear me? Confirm if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. Please drop in the chat whether you can hear me, if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. Drop in the chat. Please, I need us to respond. If you can hear me, if you can see my screen, please drop in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. I want to be sure that it's just okay. Can you see my screen? What is the last thing that I did? What is the last thing that I did? Drop in the chat. What is the last thing that I did? Let me know what the last thing that I did so that I can be sure. I am in this, I can hear you and see your screen, sir. Beautiful, I can hear you. Okay, okay, okay. Let me know we have, you saw when I did the tools. I guess you saw that. Beautiful, I did beautiful. Okay, we are going to go over to rand array. I use rand array to generate random data. Random data, anytime I want to do some random analysis, just a recap practice, or maybe I want to teach and then I need a data set to do the teaching and to explain some real life scenarios, and I need to generate random data ASAP. I use rand array. Now, for example, I'm going to show us this data set, like this data set now, like this. I use rand array to generate this. I use rand array. Now let's look at, let me generate stuff like that is similar to this using rand array immediately to populate this data set without dragging forward and dragging down. Okay, now to do that, let me Control Shift forward, down, and then delete all. Okay, I need data set, random data. I need random data points. So what I can do here is I come here and say equals rand. I double click this rand array here. So once I double click it, it's asking me number of rows. That's what I have here is 100, and I will type the number of rows that I want, 100 rows, put comma. What's the number of columns? I will count this. We count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 columns. I type 12 here, put comma. Now it's asking me the minimum value each cell should have. The minimum value each cell should have. I can say 10,000 minimum. Then after that, it's asking me maximum. Maximum, let me say 100,000. Then, comma, is asking me is it decimal or integer? I need it as integer, that's whole number. So then I close my parentheses. That's all. Automatically, Excel will give me random values for all the, if I hit enter, you see, automatically generate random values for me, for all what I have here. It generates random value. So what do I need to do? That's the same tricks that I told us earlier. I will just come here, hold shift, forward arrow, down arrow, that's all. Then right click to copy the entire stuff, come here to paste as values. That's all. It will move away from being a formula or being a function into being a value. So once I paste as value, you see automatically these are now values. These are now values I can work with when teaching this particular stuff, multiple criteria stuff. I can work with this. So that is the power of rand array. That is how we can use the rand array. All right. Someone says it's breaking. Someone says it's breaking. Please, can we confirm whether it's from me or from your end? Can someone else confirm? Someone says it's breaking. Help me confirm, is it breaking? Is it breaking? Are we good? Acho said it's breaking now. So can someone else confirm this so that we move on? We are dealing with powerful functions tonight. That's why I want to make sure that we cover all the necessary functions needed. We are dealing with functions that are very, very essential for every analyst. We are go after now, we will be looking at VLOOKUP function, and then go to index function, match function, index match, and XLOOKUP. Guys, you are going to love that. You are going to love that. Yeah, I can't hear anything again, sir. Are you sure? Okay, Blessing, you said this. Okay, after check your network. From my end is okay. Another person have confirmed that. We are going to look at VLOOKUP. These are functions, formulas that we will need for our analysis. Please, can one person again, can someone else also confirm our stability? Because I'm moving over to VLOOKUP, and I'm going to be fast with VLOOKUP, because currently now, if you are using Office 2021, you don't really need to use VLOOKUP. You don't need to use index match. You just need to use just XLOOKUP. You just need to use only XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP covers for VLOOKUP, it covers index match. Is an advanced function that covers index match. All right, Ayomi, thank you. Okay, now VLOOKUP is, we use it to, as the name is a lookup function. We are now into the lookup function. We are done with the array function. The array functions, we are able to cover this nice unique filter, sort, sequence, transpose, and rand array. Also, I use a use case of number, and to show us the search aspect is also part of the array functions. All right. Now, VLOOKUP, as the name implies, is lookup function. However, the VD stands for vertical lookup. In other words, it's looking for stuff in the vertical, like this. It doesn't look at things for the horizontal. It doesn't do a horizontal lookup like this. You are looking at for stuff in the horizontal. It looks up things for vertical. And as our data set is, as a norm, or normally, our data sets are arranged in a vertical set standpoint. However, sometimes you might have a data set that is arranged in a horizontal form. We have the one we call the HLOOKUP, that's horizontal lookup. But that one we don't always set in that regard. We don't always see a data set in that regard. All right. Now let's take, for example, I want to look up for product ID. If I want to look for product ID in this data set, let me tell us some limitation of VLOOKUP. That's why even for years, since XLOOKUP came out, I don't use VLOOKUP. I only use VLOOKUP when I'm teaching it. Sometimes I even forget something on VLOOKUP because there is no need. Why? It's limitation. One of the limitations of VLOOKUP, let's take for example, I want to look up for the product ID. I want to look up for the product ID here using, let's say, the product ID. I want to look up for the product ID and then get stuff here. Let me explain. Are we good? It seems that I'm kind of disconnected. Confirm if we are good. Confirm if we are good, since I'm kind of disconnected. Please, let's drop in the chat if we are good. Are we seeing everything clearly? From my end is showing as if I'm kind of disconnected. Yeah, I think I can notice that. Please confirm if we are good now. Let's confirm if we are good to go. I think it's stable now. Let's confirm if we are stable now. We are still in the VLOOKUP. Let's confirm if we are stable now. Are we good? Are we stable? Let's confirm. Let's confirm. Are we good? Are we stable? So that I can proceed. I don't want to leave anyone behind. If we are good, if it's good from your end, kindly drop in the chats. Kindly drop in the live chat, drop in the live comment. Let me know so that we can proceed. We're already 1 hour gone. I want us to finish this function and the date function. All right, thank you. Blessing is stable now, sir. All right. Who else? Someone else also confirm for me, please. Someone else will confirm for me. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Suliat, beautiful. Okay. Now, I said in VLOOKUP, what value we want to look up for product, this ID, whatever ID here. Let's say we want to return the product name. Let's say we want to return the product name. For example, we want to return the product name. So this ID, any ID here, when you look up for the product ID, in this array, this we call it array. From this point down, all these are the table array. So when you are looking at this lookup function, the first thing it asks you for is what is the lookup value. This is what we are looking for, product ID. Now you say, when I find this ID, where will I find this ID rather? Look up for this. Look up for this ID. Where? In this table array. So if I find this value under this table array, which one do you want me to return? There are multiple data values for this ID. Do you want me to return which one specifically do you want me to return? That's what this column index number is all about. That's what the next. So if I put comma, it's asking me what is the column index. Now I want it to return products. Now the column index here is starting from this product ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the column index is 9. So if you put comma here, it will ask you approximate or exact match. we are going to look for exact match. However, if you don't put the exact match, let's say for example I remove the comma, Excel will automatically use exact match. Excel will automatically assume the exact match. Excel will automatically assume the exact match. So then we hit enter. So it shows us NA. Now this NA is simply because there is no product ID here. So let me say 1613. Let me type in 1613 and hit enter. Now you see that automatically it shows me that the product name is Victoria UE22. Now this is 1613. Now if I highlight this here, is there first 1613 here? Are we this is uh, 1613 is giving me this, which shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Okay, let me check 2116, enter. VLOOKUP, this. Wow, this is control down. Okay. Each product has its own ID. Each has its own ID here. Let me check. Give me time. I need to figure this out. Did I do anything on this data set before now? Did I do anything on this? Let me 506. 506. Two 488 2488. Okay, there are double ID here. Okay, let me rearrange this. Let me rearrange these data sets. Okay, let me copy this. Let's work with this. I want us to see that this is working, that this is genuine. I think I tampered with that data set. I think I tampered with that data set. I can't remember, but let me copy this. Let me delete this, come here to paste. Let me come here and paste. Okay. Now, let's check, let's see from this particular data set we have. Let's see from this particular data set we have. We want to look up this. This is product ID. This is this. Let me also copy. Let me copy the let me remove the filter. Let me copy this, Control C. And let me paste it here. Okay, let me do that straight away. Now, let's say we have equals VLOOKUP. What is our lookup value? Our lookup value is this, which is the product ID, comma. Where are we looking out for? We are looking at this Control Shift forward, Control Shift down, arrow, then comma. That's our table array. Then the column index, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say we are looking for the products and 9, we press 9. And then the range value exact, and now that we hit enter. Now it's showing us what we need. It's showing us what we need. 2216 is this. That's the correct stuff. So if I say 1613, I think I tampered with that data set. If I say 1613, automatically we have, this should be think I tampered with these data sets. Let me check the other one. 2049. what is happening? This, I think I tamper with the data set. I can't say, but that should be it. That's the VLOOKUP. And there is something about VLOOKUP. Let me even see if you can. A value is not available in the formula function. Two 787. It gives me this. Is maybe there is an error in some of this, which it gives the correct stuff here. And if I say 2116, it changes, is correct. There might be an error in my data set there, 4343. It updates to this. Okay, now that is showing that the function is correct. So for the VLOOKUP, that is the aspects on VLOOKUP. For VLOOKUP, now let me share with us some drawback of VLOOKUP. Now let's take for example that I want to get the revenue of this product. Let's say the revenue for these products. Now let me delete this here. I want to get the revenue of product. This is the revenue. I want to look up the revenue of this product. It will not work. Why? Because this is now back. What I'm looking for is at the back of the lookup value. Why this works is because the lookup ID, what I'm looking for is at the front of the lookup ID, or the lookup value rather, which is the product ID. However, if the lookup value is in the front and what we are looking for is at the back, it will not work. What do I mean? If I say equals to VLOOKUP and double click on this, the lookup value is this. Let's say the lookup value, I'm looking for the value of this, or let's say let me use this, the product ID, then comma the lookup value. And please, most times what the value we are using is we mostly use unique values most times. Then having done this, what is the table array? Even if you like, highlight the entire range. Even if you like, highlight the entire range. Even if you like, highlight all this down, control backspace, and then put comma and say column index revenue. When you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are not going to get anything. So if we like, we put 5 here as the column index and hit enter. It gives us error. Now, even if we come here and put the product value, which is Maximus, space, you see dash, let's say 45, hit enter. It will not change. Why? Because what we are looking for, this is at the back. It will only work when you rearrange this data set and bring it at the front. When you bring, let's say this revenue, you highlight it and bring it at the front, and then start counting. Your column index starts to count from the lookup value column. If this is your lookup value, your column index starts to count from here. This becomes 1, this becomes 2. So if you put 3, 4, 5, it will do what you are looking for is behind it. That only searches for stuff that is after it, not before it. If your lookup value is this state, for example, or region, for example, whatever you are looking for, the value you are going to be looking for should be at the front. So that's why when you are arranging your data set, you rearrange it in such a way that your lookup value comes first, others comes after. That's the drawback of VLOOKUP. However, if you are using index match or you are using XLOOKUP, that automatically is taken care of. You don't need to bother the direction or the position of the data sets or the position of your lookup value and your return array. That's on the aspect of VLOOKUP. However, VLOOKUP, if you don't have XLOOKUP, why I'm teaching VLOOKUP is because if you don't have XLOOKUP, you can use VLOOKUP or you use index match. Index match also takes care of the VLOOKUP drawback. So that's the aspect of VLOOKUP. All right. Now, the next thing we are going to be looking at is index. Index, what index does is that index returns the intersection of columns and rows. So when you say index, if you are saying the index, the column is F and the row is this intersection. If this is the row number and this is the inbound, this the intersection of this. So that I guess we are good. I guess we can still hear me. I guess. Can we still hear me, please? Please let's confirm. Please let's confirm if you can still hear me. Confirm if you can still hear me. All right. All right, beautiful. Let's proceed. Now, for the index, like I said, index returns the intersection of the vertical and the horizontal. The intersection of the vertical and the horizontal. right. All right, all right, all right. It seems we are good now. It seems we are good. Okay. Now earlier I started with index. Index is this, the entire array. Then it will ask the row number. I said I just put 7 here and then the column 9. So we are expecting to have stuff from here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I hit enter, it Victoria UE22. This. So if we count, this is that if we count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's the 7th row. If we count from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then if we count to the column part, that is 9. So it gives us this. That's for index. It gives us the value here. Then match. Match, if we want to know the number of this, we can use match, where we say equals match. Double click. Then let's look at the numerical value. Then I click on it. That match will ask us what's the lookup value. This is the lookup value. I hit comma. What is my lookup array? Where should I look for this? Look for it under this. I say Control Shift down arrow to highlight the entire range. Control backspace to get back where we are. Then comma, I want the exact match. I put 0. That's for the exact match. I close it and hit enter. Automatically it tells me that it's on the 7th row, like we already talked about in the index. It returns the row number that is on. It shows us that it's on the 7th row. I guess we can all hear me now. I guess we can all hear me. I guess we can all hear me, right? I need to finish this, even if it's, don't know why network just suddenly. Can we hear me, please? Can we all confirm my audibility? Can we confirm my audibility, please? Can you hear me? I don't know why the network becomes a bit challenging. Can we drop in the chat if you can hear me, please? Someone said you are audible now. Can someone else confirm so that I proceed? Even if I am able to finish the lookup and array function, then the date function I will rush it up this night. Please, 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 let's confirm. Let's confirm, please, 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 very important, so that we be able to confirm what we have. Adewale Williams, you said you're audible now. Who else? Please, let's respond. I don't want to leave anybody behind. I want to be sure that we are all on the same page. If you are with me on this live, drop in the chat if I'm audible, if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. Very much appreciated. Okay. I will proceed. We have talked about the match, we have talked about the index, and on their own, they might not make much sense. But when we combine them together, we can be able to do a whole lot. All right, so let me delete everything here. Okay, let me also remove this. Delete, clear all. All right. Now, going over to index match function. Under the index match function, we are combining the two, this index and match. We are now combining the two of them. That's what gives us index match. Combining the two of this, that's what gives us index match. So let's take, for example, using this data sets, we Okay, let's use this data set. Now, let's take, for example, here are sales revenue. Here are sales revenue, and I want to know the amount generated by a person here on I want to know maybe amount generated by someone here. Index match will help me to do that. Index match will help me to do that. I want to know the amount generated by this person. For example, let's say under this January here, let's say by this, for this person. So if I'm to use index match, I can say equals index. It asks me what's the array. The array is what I'm looking for. The array is what I'm looking for. So here I'm going to select this, Control Shift down, Control backspace. That is my array. That is my array. So now to know this person here, what maybe if I put Cindy on this, or should I use this? Is let's say I'm using January 2024. So that's H. Let's say I put H. H, and then this one H. Okay, now let's say this is January 2024. That's what I'm using, and then I will come over to this place, put comma. Now instead of now putting my row number becomes the match. My row number becomes the match. I will put my match here, double click. What am I matching it for? What's the lookup value? The lookup value becomes this name. The lookup value becomes the name here. I put comma. Then what's the lookup array? The lookup array, this is where I'm looking it up. Here, the names, I'm looking up this name under this name column. So hold Control, hold Shift, press down arrow to highlight the entire range. Control backspace to get where we are, and then I put comma. What do I want? I want an exact match. I want an exact match. Put 0 there, and then close my parentheses, and then close the parentheses again. Remember, I open 2 brackets here. I open 2 brackets, and then I'm going to close it back. This is basic index match function. Basic index match, where we are looking at one criteria, which is just the name, and then we are looking for the name under this amount, so amount, then we hit enter. So we have that NA. Now if we, so let me apply a separator here, and then let me remove the decimals and say okay. So that is what we have. If we change it to say Rosa, and then hit enter, automatically that updates to this, as we can see here. So this makes it to be dynamic, and this is for basic index match function. This is basic index match function, as we have that there. Okay, now the next we can do also under this index is to look at, under the index is how do I call it now, is multiple criteria. Now to looking at stuff on the vertical and at the same time horizontal. We are looking at for this at the same time horizontal. Now we are going to do that. We are going to do that here. We are going to do that here as well. So when we say equals index, double click this. What is the index? What is the array? The array is this whole place. Hold Control, hold Shift, press forward, down arrow, that becomes the entire array, what we are looking for. Control backspace. Am I? Wait. Yes, that's the array. That's the array. Then comma. Then the row, that's where we put match. We double click here. Now under this match is asking us for the lookup value. Now for the lookup value, let's say we are looking for the name. This is the lookup value, comma, we are looking out for the name here, the lookup value here, and then we say, comma, the lookup array. Okay, the lookup array is this. Control Shift down. That's the lookup array. Control back space. That is the lookup array. Then, comma, what's the match type? We need it to be in exact. We need it to be in exact. And then we close the parentheses. Is now asking us for the column number. Please, are we with me? Are we following? Okay. Now, is we have declared the one for row. The next is the column number. So to put the column number, we put the match. For the column number, okay, first we put comma, and then come to the column number and put match. Double click this. This becomes double match. Now, this index shows that the first declares the one of the column. Now is the one of row rather. We looked for this in the row direction. That's for the first match. Is in the row direction. Now the second match is asking us for the lookup value, which is the month. We click here and then comma, what's the lookup array? Now our lookup array is now this. Our lookup array is now this. This becomes our lookup array. Then comma, what are we looking for? We are looking for exact match. Put 0, then close the parentheses. Once that is done, you close again. This becomes for multiple criteria. Now in the multiple criteria, we are looking for both the horizontal and the vertical. Both the horizontal and vertical, or the row and the column. That's for index match. This is where you have double match. The first match handles the row number, the second match handles the column number. Remember, match returns number, and index, for index to use column and the row number in order to return a specific value. So we are applying that understanding in order to use both horizontal and vertical. So once we do that, we hit enter. It returns NA for us. Now, if we are looking for ROSA under match, for example, we are looking for ROSA under match. Let me type match here. Let me type match here and hit enter. You see we have a result. Now, what result do we have? 59 this. Okay, see it here. That's this is what we have, 59 to 46. Now the match it will show here is the first match. It shows the first match. However, what we highlighted all this range which has match, but it will take the first value of match. That's what it will take, the first value. Now, what if we don't want the first value? Maybe we are now a sales result for the month of March 2024 or for the month of March 2025. Let's say, for example, we are looking for Rosa March 2025 March sales report. Or if we change it from this to Steve Lou, it updates, and for Steve Lou, this is what he has. So, but what if we are looking for Steve Lou for the month of March 2025, not 2022? How are we going to do that? That is where we are going to do for another aspect. This is another advanced use case of index match, where we are going to combine these two. This becomes two criteria now. On the horizontal or on the column number, we now have two criteria on the column number, while on the horizontal number or row number, we have just one criteria. All right, we have talked about the basic index match. We have talked about the multiple criteria. Let's look at this more advanced multiple criteria feature. So to do that, we are still going to start to say index. What is the array? Our array becomes this as well. Hold Control, hold Shift, press forward, and hold Control, hold Shift, forward arrow. What's happening here? So the array is this: Control Shift, forward arrow, down arrow to highlight the entire range. Control backspace to return where we are. That's our array. Then we put comma. Then the next is asking us is the row number. What is the row number? The index is asking. So we can use match to return the row number. We bring in match to return the row number. So we double click this. Lookup value. What are we looking for? Any name here. So for now is Steve Lou. Then we put comma. What is the lookup array? This is the lookup array. The names, Control Shift down arrow is the lookup array. Control backspace will return where we are. That is the array, the lookup array. Then we put comma. We are looking for an exact match. That's the first match. We close it and then put comma. Now, once we are done with the row number, what column number? Now we are going to look at this. We are returning columns in this direction. However, in this case, we now have two columns we need to consider. We have to consider these two columns, and that is where we are going to introduce another stuff now. So the next is to do another match. Now in this case, we are going to use the match to return the column. So here, what are we looking for? We are looking for this and this. The month and the year, they are our lookup values. So what I'm going to do, once I select this, I press Shift 7 to introduce the ampersand. This is called the ampersand. This what we can say and. So we are using it to say I2 and I3. These are my lookup value. These two are my lookup value. Then I put comma. Then the next is we are looking for lookup array. Now our lookup array becomes the same stuff we did here. We will highlight this and put ampersand, and which is and highlight this as well. So let's do that. Our lookup array becomes this. So we highlight this. Once we highlight sheet 7 to put the ampersand, this, and then highlight this as well, the year. So once that is done, that becomes all right. Can we hear me? Okay. Now I want to be sure that we are still on the same page, because this is a more like an advanced use case of index match. So once we have done that, we need exact match. We press 0. That's an exact match. We close the parentheses, and then we close again. So with that, we can hit enter. It gives us NA. So if we want to get to know what is Steve Liu, what is his sales summary in 2025, we come here now and type 2025 and hit enter. So automatically it shows us that of Steve Liu in 2025, as we can see here. So we see that this is the same 95,824. That's what we have. So it's no longer taking the first one, the first match for 2022. Now is taking recognition of the year. So if we change it and let's say we need David Lee, hit enter, it updates. This is for David Lee, as we can see here. And that way, that makes our lookup to be dynamic. With that, we can use it to prepare different data sets as we can have here in this case. Here, I'm going to use this for XLOOKUP, which is the elder brother to index match. What we have, all these formulas we entered, index, enter match 1, match 2, and this, we can do that with XLOOKUP. That is for the index match. On the index match, we were able to show the basic, the multiple criteria, there where we have the horizontal and the vertical together, and then the multiple column together. All right. The next we are going to be looking at for under the lookup function is the XLOOKUP. The XLOOKUP, as the name is one of the ones I use so often. I use XLOOKUP so often. So in this, for us to use XLOOKUP, I'm going to use XLOOKUP in a different dimension. I'm going to use XLOOKUP in a different dimension. If, for example, you want to look up for this, for example, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's say we have, let me quickly make a kind of form here. So I select this, go over to view, remove grid lines, and then let me come over to this. I just want to make I'm just formatting. I'm just formatting so that this can stand alone in this format. Now, let's take for example, you have a sales rep, or you have someone you just brought in, the person doesn't really know the price, and you don't want the person every now and then to be going to the original data set to be checking the price list. You can design something like this. Once you do stuff like this, you can bring in all your products here. This is products. Now I'm going to do something very fast. We are still going to get to that aspect. That is what we call data validation. I'm going to do that very fast for data values, to do data validation. And here I'm going to get all our unique products. And to do that, I'm going to say equals to unique. Go with me. I will say unique, go over to my original data set. This is my product. I click on this, hold Control, hold Shift, press the down arrow to highlight the entire range and hit enter. Automatically, it brings me all the products that we have. All the products. Control Shift down arrow, we highlight the entire range, and then right click, copy. I want to paste it like that as a value. I come here, paste as value, so it's not showing as formula, it shows as value. So here now I have this. These are the list of all the products I have, uniquely listed. So they are not repeated. So what I will do here is I'm going to put them here as my products. So whenever someone buy any of the products and the person selects it, then there should be a display of the selling price and stuff like that. So let's see what we can do with that. Then I will come here, select this. This is where I want my product name to display. So I come over to this place, go to data. I will teach data validation later in this course. Just follow me, please. So go to data, click on data validation, come here, this dialog box shows up. I select list. Under list, I will come to source. This place becomes my source. So Control Shift down arrow to highlight that range, and then say okay. That becomes my source. Now this shows the drop down arrow here. If you look at it, you see this. So to remove this, so as people will not see all this here, I can come here, come to home, and then use the same color as that of the background. So it looks as if nothing is here. Why? Because I'm using the same color as that of background. Okay, so that settles that. That one, I have all my unique products inside here. So I can select anyone. Then I will come here, what of the price? This is where I will use XLOOKUP to do that. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to say this for basic XLOOKUP from one sheet to another, using XLOOKUP from one sheet to another. I'm going to say XLOOKUP and then double click here. We already gone time, but I will have to finish this. Let's double click this. Then under lookup value, I will click on this. This is my lookup value. I want to look up I want to get the price of the product here. Any product that is here, I want the price to display here, to automatically display here. So I select that, comma. What is my lookup array? My lookup array, I will come over to this place. Is my lookup array is the product. That's the lookup array, the product name. So I will come here, click Control Shift down to highlight the entire range. That is the lookup array. Then here we are still in the formula. Here I will press comma. In the formula, you can see it here, is in the tab, in the sheet called lookup and array sheet. That's the name of this sheet. That's the sheet name. And then the range is this, I7 down. Then what do I want to return? If I see the product you are asking me for, what do I want to return? I want you to return price per unit. I want you to return the price per unit. So I click on this, Control Shift down. That's the price per unit. And then I hit enter. So automatically it shows me any, which if I come here and select any product, it shows me the price automatically. So the person doesn't need to go into the data set to be checking the price. Then here the units is here. So any number the person is buying, any quantity the person is buying, you enter it here. So the total will now be equals to this times, that's the equals to F9, that's this cell times this, the selling price. The unit sold, the unit bought, the total unit bought times the selling price per unit. That gives me the total. So I hit enter. It gives me the NA. So what that implies is that if I come here and select any of these, it shows me the price. And it shows 0. Why? There is no unit here. And then if the person is buying, let's say, 4 pieces or 4 units or 5, and I enter 5 and hit enter, it shows me the total. So with XLOOKUP, I've been able to pull the price from this, the range or my inventory list or my stock list, where I have the selling price per unit item, to this place, so that the salesperson can use it to calculate the total amount. The person don't need to be pressing calculator. Once it, okay, what are you buying? Okay, what product is that? Is curious, please, what's the product ID? The product ID is curious E14 this. You type it here, or you search for it here. It displays, and then automatically shows the price. And then how many are you buying? This. Once you type the quantity the person is buying, the price displays. It shows the total price. And that way, we have been able to use XLOOKUP in order to do certain stuff. And I would have loved to use XLOOKUP for other stuff like the approximate match and that. Due to our time, I did a very, very powerful video on XLOOKUP. I shared different use cases of XLOOKUP. I will drop that video on our group, the scholarship group. I also dropped the one of filter on the scholarship group and the if functions, so that we can all ensure that we master the use cases. Due to time, I want to ensure that we finish up the functions tonight. Then on Thursday, we are doing real life project, making use of all the functions we have learned to do a real life project, workplace projects that we can see we start from start to finish. Okay, that's for the basic XLOOKUP. We can use XLOOKUP for multiple criteria here. We can use XLOOKUP for approximate match. In fact, I have prepared some of these things so that we can see the functionality of XLOOKUP. However, I will drop that video first thing tomorrow for the XLOOKUP, if function, and filter. These are powerful functions. We need to understand them. Okay. However, we have understood one use case of XLOOKUP as regards to this. Very, very important. Also, let me state that we can, what happens here, we can also get it done. We can do it in another workbook. Let me quickly show us that. Control N to open a new workbook. Let me minimize this here. Let me also minimize this. Let me bring this here. Okay. Now, what we have here, we can have it in this workbook and then have our data set, our database on a separate workbook. Now, for example, let me let me copy whatever that is here. Let me copy it, Control C, so that let me copy it and paste here. Okay. Because of time, I don't want to waste much time. That's why okay. Now the same thing we have here, let me delete everything here. Now we have this, you see there is no data validation here, so let me remove the data validation we have there already. Let's go to data to come here, validation. We are going to make it to any value and we say okay. All right, now I have removed that. The next thing I'm going to do is to do the same thing we did. Let me pull the same, let me pull the data. Let me pull the data here. Equals unique, so that we see that this can work from one workbook to another. So I'm moving from this to this place. However, before I do that, I need to ensure that my lookup are here on the top, and I'm looking for products. So here, let me come here and say equals unique. Double click here, come here. I'm on a new one. I'm on this workbook now. I have moved from this workbook to this. So you see, immediately I click here, it gives me the name of the workbook I'm on. I'm on Excel functions for data analysis 2. That's the name of the workbook, if you can see it here. Excel functions for data analysis 2. So it shows me the workbook I'm in, and then the sheet. In that workbook, what's the name of the sheet? Lookup and array. And then to the active cell, which is this I7. So that is what we have. Then we click, hold Control, hold Shift, then down arrow to highlight the entire range and hit enter. Automatically, it brings the unique value of the products here. Control Shift down to highlight it. Then let me copy and then come to my home, come to clipboard, and then paste as values. So we have that pasted as values. So having done that, let's apply our data validation. To apply data validation, we click on this particular cell. Let me minimize, let me reduce this kind of like this. So we click on this, go to data, under data, let me come here. This is data validation. This comes out, we come here, list. Under the list, we click here, what source? We need to go and look for our source. Is from here. Control Shift down, and then we say okay. That's where we have our products drop down. So from here we can apply our XLOOKUP. We can say equals XLOOKUP, double click here. What is the lookup value? This, comma, what is the lookup array? Our lookup array is the product name, which is this. So we come over to this place. Click here, Control Shift up arrow to highlight this, then select this range. This is our lookup array. Then we press comma. After the comma, what is our return array? Return array is the selling price per unit. We come here to click Control Shift down. That is our return array. So once that is done, I will hit enter. It shows me NA. So what that simply means is if I select any here, you see it works. It's dynamic, so you can do the total this times this for this. So you can have this on a separate, you can have this design on a separate workbook. You can have this design on a separate workbook. Like you can have it designed on a separate workbook and then format it, make it look beautiful like we have here. This, we can highlight this, come to home and come here, select this, then we can then come here, Control Shift forward, come over to this, select this as well. Of course, we know what we can do to this, come over to this, select this as well, then select this, then over to this one, Control Shift down, and finish up our formatting like we have. So here we now have stuff like this. We can reduce this to this place. So we have stuff like this. This becomes what we have. So here is, this becomes our database. This becomes our price, product price. So we can work from one workbook to another or from one worksheet to another. All right, that is on the XLOOKUP. Now let's quickly move to date function. Let's quickly move to date function. I'm definitely, I will have to finish these functions this night. I'm going to finish them. So please bear with me, stay with me a bit. We are going to finish it together. We have already been on Excel functions and formulas for 3 days. I expected to do it for 2 days, but due to some network glitches and that. All right, now today is a date function that returns today's date. If you want today's date, you say equals today. Once you select it, you close it. You see the open parentheses, you close. That's all. So when we want to automate a form, that when employers come each date, when we want to design an attendance form, you don't need to come today and put today's date. You don't need to come, okay, to today's date, you type it in, then they begin to fill it. No, you just design it, put today, it will show to today's date, then tomorrow it will also show tomorrow's date. Okay, so if I hit enter, you see that today's date is 23 September 2025. If we proceed tomorrow, by tomorrow I will open this particular, by Thursday I will open this particular data set. You will see that the date will automatically update. Okay, now for now it returns the current time. So if I say equals to now and close and hit enter, it shows me both the time, the current time, and the date. This is the date and this is the time. Currently we are to 11. We are on to 11:22:37. That's now network days. Network days, I'm going to be fast on them. As we progress on this course, we will be looking at, we will be seeing some use cases of it and then explains them further in real details. Okay, for network days, if I do this, it will show me the number of days from this. So if I double click on this, network days, it asks me the start date. Let's say the person started from May 5th, 2000. We want to know the number of work days, network days the person have had. So this becomes our start date. I will select this and put comma. The end date is this. Now, if there are holidays, you can list those holidays available. If there are holidays, you can list them separately and highlight it. It's optional. Now, for now, let's leave it without putting any holiday and then hit enter. It shows me 6,166 days. That's from 2000 to 2022. The person have worked for us for 6,166 days. That's the total work days, network days. Then this one, network days international. This one takes into consideration the weekends, different weekends that you observe in the work days. So to you, this is the one most times we use. So if we say equals network days, you see this international, double click on it. You do the same way, the start date, comma, the end date, comma, then weekends. Now weekends here, it shows you different options. If your weekend starts from Saturday and Sunday, let's say most of us, we work Monday to Friday. That is your weekend starts Saturday and Sunday. That means you don't go to work on Saturday or Sunday, you put one. If it's Sunday and Monday, if it's Tuesday and Wednesday, this, Friday and Saturday, let's say sometime in the Arabian nations, some Arabian countries, their weekends are Friday and Saturdays. Sunday work resumes. So if you are in that location and you are designing network days, you pick the Friday and Saturday. That Friday and Saturday, Fridays is weekends, the more like the worship day, and then Saturday is another holiday. Sunday work starts. In some places you have like Nigeria, Saturday, Sunday. There are places you might say Sunday, Monday, as the case may be. Here, if it's Sunday only, that means you work Monday to Saturday. If in your office place is Sunday only, it's your weekend. It's your weekend, only Sunday, you click. But let's take the mostly weekends, which is Saturday and Sunday. So if you double click on this, it shows one. Then if there are holidays apart from the weekends, then you state it. However, we are not making use of holidays here, and then we hit enter. Now you see automatically is the same. Why? This network days takes into consideration normally Friday, Saturdays. And then here, if we come here and we say, okay, let's say we are in the Arabian nations, that our weekend is Friday and Saturday. We double click this, that is 7th, and we hit enter. You see there is a 1 day reduction due to when our weekend starts. So that can, the time your weekend starts can affect your result based on the number of work days. Okay, now on the next is work day. Network day is the accumulation, the total network. When we say net worth, net salary, and that this minus this, you get the net worth. That's what happens here. This minus this, the start date, the end date, accumulation of it shows. Then the work day is we have here the work day to know what the day will be, the start dates. Now let's take for example let's say the start date is today. Let me use this. Let's say the start date is today, and I want to know what day it will be in the next 30 work days, next 30 working days. Which day will it fall under for 30 working days? If I start today, and today is 23rd of September, and then I want to add 30 days, 30 work days, and know which day, by the end of 30 work days, which day will it be? So if I add 30 here, if I click on 30 here, if there are holidays within those 30 days, I can select them. If they are not, then if there are holidays, you list them here. Let's say in October, October 1st, let's say Independence Day is holiday, because from now to October 1st, we have Independence Day, you list it here. Okay, let's say there is holiday here, for example. Let me put comma, and then let's say there is holiday. Here I click on it. That's K4. I click on K4 and hit enter. It shows me that in the next 30 days, starting from 23rd, the next 30 days will be 4th of November. 4th of November. In other words, excluding weekends. Remember, excluding weekends, work day, excluding weekends, 4th of November. So if I come here and say 10th is holiday, watch, 10, which is October, then 1st, 2025. If I select that and hit enter, you see that due to this, my work 30 days have increased to 5th, because this is now a holiday. It's not counted as part of the work days. I'm asking for only work days alone. Only work days. Only work days. I'm looking for 30 work days. So if I add 30 work days to this, it's going to be on the 5th of November, excluding holidays and weekends. So let's take, for example, I want to see which day it is. So I can select this, go to this my format, or press Ctrl 1. I can select this one, this format, so that it shows me the days is falling and then the month like this. There are other formats you can see. There are different formats, but that one is okay for what I want, and then say okay. Now if I double click, you see it shows me that it's on Wednesday. Is on Wednesday. So if I come here and say, let's say 15 work days, 15, and hit enter, it shows me this. If I say is 10, so it's showing me October. Now that's where we have our days we know when we work. So then I can also select these formats and say okay. Then we have this. So depending on the one that is okay for us, this makes this to be long so that it reduces. All right, now I'm going to be using this when we are designing a form, the eDate automated form. We are going to use it, and this one. Now for the days employed, I guess we can all hear me. I'm rushing it a bit, but okay. It should be formatted in general or number. Anyone, but let me use general. So from 2022 to now, the person days employee 664. Is that correct? Okay, that's 2023 rather, not 20. That's 2023 December 2023, 2024, 2025. Yes, I think that should be correct. Yes, that should be correct. When you check it, it's correct. This is 2023, December 22. That's when the person joined. So the total is 641 days. Now, let's say you want to calculate the current age of your employees. You are a HR and you want to know the current age of the employee. You want to know the current age of the employees. Let me reduce this here so that we can see the entire day. Now, to calculate the current age of the employee, this is where we use a date function. We use a date function called dated if. A date function called dated if. So to calculate the age of the employee, you are going to say equals to, you type this, just type it, dated if, open parenthesis. So once you type it, you select the age, the date of birth of that employee. The date of birth, you click on it, say comma, and then put today, because it will be self-updating. By tomorrow, next year, it will update, add a year to that person. So you don't need to be doing it over and over again. So once you put today, you close it and then put comma. By that comma, after comma, open double quotation and then put Y and close it. And close the quotation, and this, I think it should be capital also. And is it case sensitive? I can't remember. So once that is done, you hit enter. So automatically it shows you that from the age of that person today, the person is 25 years. So if you check it, they gave birth to the person at the age of at the year 2000, and this is 2025. So that's 25 years. That is correct. So if you drag it down, it will calculate for others. You can see this person is 73, is 51, this person is 66, is 59, as the case may be. So with this, we can see that most of the age of our staffs are on the high side from what we can see here for now. So that is the age, the current age of the employees, and that is where we will stop for tonight. This is where we will wrap up tonight's section. And I want to appreciate those of us that have stayed with me up to this moment. If you have been with me up to this moment, kindly drop your name, your scholarship ID. So we have come to the end. Drop your name, your scholarship ID, and let me get your feedback. How is tonight's section? Let's quickly do that and then end the section this night. Your name, your scholarship ID, your location. This is my last attendance for tonight. Your name, your scholarship ID, your location. Much appreciated. How is tonight's section as well? What have you learned? The error handling, I'm going to be doing that, and as we work on different functions. All right, as we work on projects from Thursdays, we will be dealing with projects. Thursday, Friday will be strictly projects based on the things we have learned, the functions we have learned, and everything we have learned since we started, how we can use them to bring about stuff real life. Thank you for staying with me. I didn't intend to stay this long, but necessity makes it that we stay to this moment. So those of us that are with me till this time, your name, your scholarship ID, how is tonight's section? I need to get that feedback from us. Much appreciated. Thank you, much appreciated. What did you learn? How is the section this night? I know it's getting a bit tougher, small. We are getting there. So you need to consistently practice as well. I know it's getting a bit tougher. It's no longer like beans as usual. Let me put it that way. It's no longer beans. I remember the days in Futo, my days in Futo, stuff like that. So what did we learn? What and what? Let me get that feedback. How is tonight's section? This is already the end of tonight's section. Let me get the feedback from us. How is the section tonight? What stuff did you learn? On the comments. Also, your name, your scholarship ID. That is the attendance for tonight. Thank you, much appreciated. All right, while we keep the feedback coming, I will drop here. See us on Thursday, same time, 8:15. Thank you, and do enjoy your night.